subject. And as I said, if we're changing the subject, we're going back to algebra and we're going back to equation. I am changing the subject. So if I give you something looking like this, 2x is equal to 5 plus 3. The subject here is really 2x. 2x is equal to 5 plus 3. And so I'm going to solve that equation and I could find the value of x, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now let's see if we could solve this equation and see if we could find
X
the value.
equals 4.
So x equals 4, but how did you get x equals 4? Because 2x is equal to 5 plus 3 and 5 plus 3 is equal to 8. So I could find that x is going to be equal to 8 divided by 2, so x is equal to 4. So he's quite fine. He's quite okay. That's a simple equation. So that's a simple equation. That's for the BJCP. You would never see something like this on the BGCSE paper. We passed that. We're now on to a little bit more advanced. So let me find a question from this paper and let's see what happens when we're changing a subject. So here's a question that they gave me here, and they told me that A is equal to, and that's a capital A, is equal to H, open bracket, A, lowercase a now, plus B over 2. And I'm going to change the subject. But normally in these problems, they would give you something else first before they send it to, it's usually a 2-part or a 3-part subject. And so the change in the subject is also mixed up with substitution. They're going to give you some substitution. So they gave me some things here. They told me that A equals, what's A? What's A? You have to say what? A is equal, calculate A when, no, calculate A when H is equal to 6.3. What else did they give me? H is equal to 6.3. A, that's little a, is equal to 8.4. What else did they give me? And B equals 13.6. Okay, so as I said, in these cases, the first part of the question is always going to be using substitution. Now, yes, substitution you're going to see in BJC and you're going to see it in BGCSE. BGCSE and BJC, we have to know how to do substitution. So let's see if we could find the value of A. So that's what we're trying to do right here. Before we go to the actual changing of the subject, I am supposed to be finding the value. Okay, so let's get back to what I was saying. I'm saying that most times in the subject, in the topic changing the subject, they normally mix the question in the exams with substitution as well. And so they'll give you a 2-part. So what I'm actually doing here is 2 topics. First one is called what? Substitution. So the first part is substitution. And then I'm going to go back to changing the subject after that. And substitution, like I did with you guys yesterday, that was yesterday, right? You are simply putting in the value where they have given you a value. And so I'm trying to find the value of, so right over here I'm working with substitution. A is equal to H, open bracket, A plus B, and all of this is over 2. I'm going to put in the value of what I have. So what values do I have?
6.3.
H equals 6.3. Little a is 8.4. And B is 13.6.
That's over 2.
Sorry. Okay, so A is equal to 6.3. I'm simply substituting the values where they belong. H is equal to 6.3, A is equal to 8.4, B is equal to 13.6. And I'm gonna put that back over
2.
2. Now, there's another mathematical principle that comes up here. What is the next principle that comes up here?
Use within the bracket parentheses.
Order of
operation.
The next principle that comes up here is order of operation, because I have to remember that I have to work what is in the bracket first. So I can't just go multiply 6.3 by 8.4. No, I have to do what's in the bracket first. So I have to do 8.4 plus 13.6.
22.
What do I get?
22.
22. So 8.4 plus 13.6 is giving me 22. So I'm doing this again. So now I have 6.3. A equals 6.3 times 22, and all of that is over 2. When I do 6.3 times 22, what do I get?
138.6.
138.6 divided by 2 is what A is going to be. Now when I divide 138.6 by 2, what do I get?
69.3.
So A equals 69. Okay, now as I said, normally and in most of these topics that we're doing, you can go back and test your answer to see if what I did. After I get my answer, I love to do a test for myself to see if what I did, if it's correct. That's how I feel comfortable when I'm finished with a problem. When I do a test and I see that okay. So I know my answer here tells me that A is equal to what? A is equal to 69.3. So as far as the formula is concerned, 69.3 is supposed to be equal to H, which is 6.3 times A, which is 8.4, plus B, which is 13.6, and all of that is supposed to be divided by 2. And so all I'm going to do is to go back and work through this and make sure when I work through that, I get 69.3. So let's work through it. 8.4 plus 13.6 is going to give me
22.
22. 22 times 6.3 is going to give me,
138.6.
and divide that by 2 and I'm going to get?
69.3.
Okay. Now we all sound like a little bit. And to show what I'm saying here? Stop doing that. Okay, so that's the easy part, and that was not really the topic for today. But each of these problems that you get, they are going to give you that. The topic for today is really changing the subject. And so what did they ask me to make the subject, Lorenzo? Want to make what? Amir, what did they ask me to make the subject?
Write B as the subject.
Okay, so I am now going to make B the subject. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to make B the subject. As far as we're concerned here right now, A is the subject. A equals H times A plus B over 2. Now I'm going to make B sits over here where A is. B is going to now become the subject. Now, back to simple equation. We have learned in simple equation that if I'm going to change something over, I am simply doing the opposite of what it is doing over here. So I'm gonna move over everything. The aim here is that I'm gonna move over everything until I'm eventually going to be left with
Just
only B on this side, because B is supposed to be the subject. That's changing the subject. B is supposed to be left by itself. That's what happens when you're the subject. You stand alone. You're by yourself. And so B has many friends over here now. And A don't have any friends. I'm gonna try to take away all the friends that B have and put them to be friends of A. That's what we're doing. Everybody that's on B side, we're gonna take them away from you, and we're gonna leave you standing alone, and we're gonna make them friends of B. Now remember I said, whenever we're changing over, it's simply change sign or change operation. If I am over here and I am multiplying, when I come over here, I'm going to divide. If I am over here and I am dividing, when I come over on the other side, I am going to multiply. Once we cross this equal sign here, whatever we're doing over here, we're going to be doing the opposite of that over here. So if I'm over here and I am adding, when I come over here, I'm going to be subtracting. Let's see. We have A equals H times A plus B over 2. And what I normally do is to look for the easiest thing to move over. And right, just looking at this, I think 2 is the easiest thing to move over. Because what? It's all by itself right down here. Don't have any company, so I don't have anybody else to drop. I just go and jump over, right? And so when I move 2 over, 2 is doing what when it's over here?
dividing.
It's dividing. So when I move 2 over, it is now going to be doing what's the opposite?
Multiply.
Multiply. So this now becomes 2A equals H times A plus B, and nothing else is there because 2, I've already bring it over. So I'm multiplying by 2. Okay, so the next easiest thing, what do you think is going to be easy now to move over?
H.
Because H is by itself over here. And what is H doing when it's over here?
Multiplying.
It's multiplying. So when I bring it over, what is it going to do?
Divide.
We're dividing. So I now write 2A divided by H is equal to A plus B. Because I bring over H, the brackets automatically drop. They're gone because we're not multiplying. The brackets are here to say you're multiplying. The brackets are no longer there. You're no longer multiplying, so the brackets are no longer there. Okay, so I have 2A equals 2A divided by H equals A plus B. So who else is left to come over?
A.
A. And what is A doing over here?
Adding.
Adding. So when I bring A over, what am I going to be doing with A?
Subtracting.
Subtracting. So here goes my formula. 2A over H minus A equals B. And I just change the subject of this problem. Now again, I'm going to test my answers. I'm going to test my answer to make sure that I did what was right. So I have 2A, this is the problem here, 2A over H minus A is going to be equal to B. Now what did we say H was again? We work out H and what did we get?
6.3.
H was
Oh,
A was 6.3?
Say
No.
H or H.
A.
You sound you saying H.
138.
A was 8.4.
No.
No.
138.6.
A, capital A. When we get
138.
No.
69.3.
69.3.
like we
Okay,
get
then
all kinds of-
69.3.
The answer
A is 69.3.
A was 69.3.
Point three.
So it's 2 times 69.3 divided by H. What was H? 6.3 minus A, what was A?
8.4.
8.4 is supposed to be equal to B, and what was B? 13.6. Now let's see if we could do some multiplication and calculation and see what we get. 2 times 69.3 is going to give me what?
138.6.
138.6 divided by 6.3.
22.
And that's going to give me 22. And 22 minus 8.4.
13.6.
Bravo. So that tells me that I just did everything that I should have done, and I have my answer correctly. Okay, just a quick recap of everything that we have done. Just making sure that we are getting it. I said when we're changing the subject, we are gradually, step by step, moving everything away from what we're trying to make the subject. And in this case, they ask us to make B the subject. And so I'm going to be moving everything away from B and put it on the side of A so that B could stand by itself. That's how I'm the subject. I'm the subject, right? What makes me the subject here? You're dressing white shirt and gray pants, but I'm not looking like you are, right? I'm the subject, okay? Or you are sitting down with you all together doing the same thing, and I'm over here on a different side, so I'm the subject. Okay, now, gradually I'm going to be moving over everything, and I said normally students, I start by looking for the easiest thing to move over. I could move over anyone. I could move over H, because that's not so hard. But to me, it's easiest right here to move over that 2, because H has some friends up here that is kind of complicating it. So I'm going to move over this 2. So I move over 2. We are dividing by 2. If I move it across, we're going to be multiplying by 2. So it now becomes 2A equals H times A plus B. Then I go to moving over my H. I'm multiplying here. Now I'm going to divide. So 2A divided by H equals A plus B. And finally, I'm going to move over A. And I'm adding A here, A plus B. So if I move it across here, I'm going to be subtracting. So I have 2A over H minus A is equal to B. And what I did over here was just simply to test my answer. My new formula, so this was the original formula. My new formula says 2A over H minus A equals B. And I know all the value now for all of these letters. And so using substitution, I simply put in the values and see if I come out with B as the subject having its value and nothing is changed.